morning. How's everybody doing? Hi, Jules. Hi, Eva.
I could have slept more last night.
Me
This
too.
morning.
I keep Barrett. Hi. Sorry, I
Hi,
haven't seen you
dear.
in so long.
I know. I was watching. There was the flash fiction where Barrett wrote a short about
Yes. Mm-hmm.
uh
The one with
the
the
tea,
tea, and it was
and
hot.
yes. So it just made me think of you again. As well as, by the way, I watched CGL and I wrote down the edits. I just haven't gotten to it yet on that story, so it's
Hi, cool
gonna happen.
gamer. I keep having this nightmare about getting up in the morning, getting ready for work. I then announce to everyone in my dream that I have to work at 11, and then I'll go on about my day and look at the clock, and it'll be like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I haven't gone to work.
So my a dream that I have with work is that I have a strict dress code, like where my hair can't be like completely down like this. And so in my dreams, I am dressed for work, but my hair's down. That is my like, oh my god, is that my hair's down.
Like, why am I like this? And that's the thing though, my computer's always on and set up and near me, and I'll just walk away from it and leave it and not look at the time again. I swear it'll only be 5 minutes in my dream, and then it's like 4 hours later, and I'm like, oh my god.
Don't worry, Barrett. We'll do a meetup and stuff at some point.
Do we? Oh yeah, we need to plan another one.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, he is so aggressive this morning.
Be aggressive. Be aggressive.
Passive aggressive. He is reaching for you. Come get your boy.
Gosh. Oh, more things. I'm trying to think because it feels like it's been so long. Oh, I've had a hell of a week with work. So my entire week at work has been me arguing with people, and I won a lot of arguments here. But at a certain point, it's the disagreement isn't at my level of decision. It has to go up to the next level, and it didn't perfectly happen the way I wanted it to. But at least it's resolved now.
Yeah.
But it was funny because one of the persons who brought up the issues, he kind of reminded me. This guy's like in his 50s, I think, but he kind of reminded me the way I was at the beginning of mine and Alex's marriage, where when I realized I was losing the argument, I would switch what we were arguing about so I could win. That's what this guy did with work.
You were like, I know this.
You're like, wait, I've seen this tactic. It was just like horrible, annoying. I didn't even know what to call it, but it just made me laugh like through the stress because it was mental gymnastics all week. I'm not sure if anyone noticed, but the narration didn't air yesterday because I recorded it. I never had time to edit it because I was working until midnight, many nights actually. Yeah. So it was quite annoying and very mentally taxing. And yeah, it sucked. And my kids kind of got backlash on it too, because Spencer, he's adorable and all, but he would say stuff and I'm like, Spencer, stop.
Just stop. I can't right now.
I can't even. So
I think it was last week. Well, I've been I got a new work computer and I've been trying to get everything from my computer over there, but it's been crazy and the weather's been not good.
Same here.
So yeah, it was my power kept going out while I was trying to work yesterday. But I think mine only went out once, but I know other people were having the same issue.
Yeah.
It was a jolly good time. So
what else was Oh,
Yeah.
my dream last night, since we were talking about dreams, my dream last night was talking to somebody. I forget who it was. Like, I actually know this person. I grew up with them, but like, I forget their, I forget who it was. I just remember I know them. It wasn't one of those just random faces people. And they, I was, I pretty much told them, I was like, I pretty much think I peaked in high school. And they're like, what? And I was like, no, 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 not looks wise or anything. I'm like, I'm talking about high school because we didn't have responsibility.
Oh, I miss some of that sometimes.
And I was like, I want to go back to the time where I didn't have responsibility. And in my dream, like I have so many hours of like time off and stuff. And I'm like, what if I just take it all? Like, let me, I can't take it with me and I plan to use it before I like retire and stuff. I mean, even though that's like 10 years down the road with this job. But I was just like, what if I just take it? Like, I'm gonna need like some time after this entire project that we're working on. Once it's like resolved and complete, I'm gonna need some time.
That's totally fair, though. I've been thinking about that and just realizing that I think we talked about this a little bit last week, that I'm recovering from burnout.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Which is such an important topic in our
ugh,
community because I can tell you, I did zero writing this whole week too. Like it was just the burnout because of the energy, the spoons that I was using in other areas.
hmm you
But so
know, I'd never
you've
heard
been
about the spoon theory for a long time. I had a friend tell me, like, I'm sorry, I've been MIA. I just haven't had any spoons. And I like we're at my house in my little studio apartment. And I turn
yeah.
around and I open my silverware drawer and I was like, well, I don't have a lot of spoons, but I can give you some.
Bless you.
And she like busted up laughing. And then like that was my introduction to the theory. I was like, I only have like 4 big ones and 4 little ones, but you can
It's like
totally have some.
it's like you did a dad joke without meaning to. Like so I did this on purpose, but I was hanging out with my daughter and husband and Spencer was around and I had a water bottle that I was drinking out of, like a little plastic one. I was looking around and I was like, I can't find the top to this water bottle. And they look at me and I'm like, and they're like, really? And I'm like, yeah, no cap.
You're so bad.
And I was like, yes.
That's hilarious.
I actually had the top palmed in my hand, but still, it was just like, I was like, oh, I've been waiting for this moment.
Yes, I have all 8 spoons, but I just bought this set. So it's funny. I have 5 knives because I went to a cafe with a friend after a comedy show, and it's like one of those 24-hour. Like you don't go there during the day. You only go there at like between the hours of 12 and midnight and 3 a.m. Um, that's the only acceptable time to go there, really. And but we're there. We'd had drinks, and this guy or 2 guys, I was convinced that they were staring at us, and I was concerned because we were walking back to my apartment. So I slipped one of the butter knives into my purse so that I would have something to do with stuff.
I mean, okay, so I know it doesn't seem daunting that it's a butter knife, but my Alex has cut himself with a butter knife before, like, and so I throw it in space all the time.
It's me. We all only have 5 knives.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I want to make sure that so Barrett, yes, sorry, Chandra, Zara, and I met up, but we found this beautiful place magically that has like stone crystals and stuff like that. This worry stone I was using all week. Like I'm in meetings and I'm making sure I'm on mute and stuff. And I had selective words to say but I was on mute. and I got praised so much with like my boss, like, yeah, you really kept it together and stuff. Because there was this one guy that was getting heated, and I was like, sir, if you let me finish, I will explain this point.
I had one of those this week where I was like mid-sentence and the person was like, stop. And I was like, excuse me? Like, I don't know who you're talking to. I was not here for it. Oh, sometimes you just need, like, you just gotta take a breath.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what happened to all the herbs that I got, though?
Oh, God, what happened?
Piper got into the bag and ate all of the rose hips and half of the mullein.
Oh, my goodness.
And my first thing was to panic because I didn't know if dogs could have it.
Yeah, legit.
And once I established that rose hips are in fact very good for dogs and their joint health because it's high in vitamin C, then I got mad. I was like, that was mine.
That was not the purpose of her purchase.
It wasn't. It's supposed to, like, it's good for tea. It was for me. Tea for me.
I wanted it first. By the way, anyway, I've been loving
really healthy
chat
joints
today. Like, by the way, I want to go back a little bit when I was talking about peaked in high school, and Barrett said he peaked in 5th grade talent show, won a writing contest, and was captain of safety patrol. And then Eva said she peaked at age 4. Like, I just wait. Y'all, I feel seen and understood. Y'all are great.
It's rose hips, but yes, that's pretty much how it goes.
Yeah. It was at the store that we got like all these crystals and stuff, which I need to have. Everything. I need to remember the name.
I have the card somewhere.
Yeah,
almost Piper ate it.
Who knows? Or Dobby just decided to, hoard it somewhere. Okay, so episode 41 of that we covered in Flash Fiction Live. The prompt was on Main Street in a small town. Ooh, nice. This one was called it was in not Tennessee, like London, Kentucky, or Corbin, Kentucky. Yeah. Well, and there was nearby towns too. But it is called Gaia, like Gaia Spirits. They don't have much on their website, but if you call them, they're like, yeah, well, look, like, and they ship and everything.
Yeah, and I think they don't have much on their website because they do like have a lot of turnover, but they are so helpful.
Hey, no worries, Eva. I'm actually surprised most people don't just like, if you are on, we're happy, but we're totally fine and acceptable if you tune us out.
Yeah, we're just here for the body doubling.
All right. So on Main Street in a small town, I'm assuming you sent me the image.
I did.
All right. Chandra's story was actually like really good. I was just like, we ended up talking about wanting her to have more world building and such. Nothing really changed on the setup. Whereas on mine, we were talking about maybe even changing the beginning of when the person comes in. But I was thinking on it this morning, and I think with mine, I'm going to make it seem like where we're coming in the middle of an action and a lot of activity happened right before the page started. And stuff. Like maybe he already tried to walk out and like so many people came at him going, hey, come in over here and do this. And he's like, no, I was going to go out. And they coming up with reasons. So I'm trying to get over to Google Docs now. because I am prepared and also not prepared at the same time.
I'm going to find a timer.
Ooh, yeah, we need that. Oh.
And I know Shannon had a really cute one that we used the other day, and I feel like we haven't used that.
Oh my gosh, she's gotten some super awesome ones. There we go. Oh, that's right.
I might come back to these because they're all 30-minute timers, so I'll grab another one for the 20.
Yeah, well, what's great about the 30-minute timers, we can just move the thing down to 20. That's right. Okay, so for anybody who did not have a chance to watch episode 41, Chandra's story is about someone who was formerly human, ended up dying in some way, and where they live, where they're haunting in a way, it's the town they grew up in, which actually happens to have hell underneath it. And now hell is coming to the surface, if I'm understanding correctly and remembering. Now hell's coming to the surface, but they don't want to be a part of this this haunt, I guess you could say. I'm sharing the screen. They don't want to be a part of it. And so there's beautiful imagery that Chandra has here in the last 9 of where this person's leaving and their shoes leave the pavement, and I like that image of leave the pavement, strike hard, packed dirt. Like it's a definitive decision is kind of the feel I get there. And the further I go, the more tangible the world seems. I can almost feel the wind on my face, scrapes and burns on my skin begin to heal, and I can feel the fragments of my soul snapping into place. For the first time in a long time, I feel human, almost. So it's like they're no longer this entity of death, haunt, whatever. And now they're but they're also not going to be quite human again either, but they're definitely a lot closer. So really we just talked about this world building, such as like, well, where was their soul if it wasn't with them? And something I just thought of is the reason that they don't feel fully human. And is it because not all the fragments of their soul came back? What, buddy?
You hear me couch lately? You told your face stay, please.
I will move to the couch later, but yeah, I got my live stream first. Sorry. Okay.
You get your live stream on couch?
I'm not going to move my live stream on the couch because my microphone is kind of a big, hefty thing to move. Not that big, but I just don't want to do it, to be honest. Love you, though. Okay. But that last paragraph is what gets me the most. We were talking before about how has Main Street changed. Like, is there things, what things have changed? Like, is there a gaping hole that hell came out of? Is there, how has the sky changed? Is there acid rain or something? I don't know, like kind of world building stuff. So that's what we talked about on yours, and then just like a few extra ideas I had. Anything else?
I just put in a couple notes, things that I specifically want to address in this story, but I think this is the first one I've had where everything else was good, but it just needs a lot more world building. So
yeah,
I think that's good.
Yeah, like the buildings so the image I get is like, are the buildings crumbling? Do they have growth on them? Everything, because I feel like small, like downtown and everything kind of look where everything's out of bricks. They kind of look like they were probably new in the 50s, you know? is the time period.
I was
so.
thinking like a mix between like a Western high noon street and like the brick building of like a typical
like when we
small
went
town
doing Pokemon Go downtown and
Mhm.
stuff, we were driving through in Corbin, like that's the main street.
Yeah, that kind of street, but with
Perfect.
the surrounding of like high noon.
Gotcha. Where this entire town's like in a valley. Is that what you're thinking?
Scrub
Like it's
and
valley
desert.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now with mine, it was let me see. So it's kind of building up of like explaining like why is this person trying to sneak out of their realm, and so I'll make sure I explain that. I don't want to go in completely into it right now, but I talked about how I would change how the story starts to make sure that it's like there were some things that happened before and explain those, and then describing, because this ended up being urban fantasy, describing the transformation of the people as they transform into animals, like what that looks like without being too descriptive, because then I feel like it would take away. But those are kind of the two main things for this story.
Yeah, and I think you described the sounds that they're making.
Yes.
And I think maybe part of it is like a foot becoming a claw, or a face, like maybe a prominent nose
Like
disappearing
the
into a
nose and
beak
mouth,
or something.
nose and jaw, like elongate, and the color changes. Yeah, things like that, where I don't have to describe what the animals people are changing into, but if I do a whole bunch of like glimpses, like the main character's eyes is darting around and that's what they see, it works. So
yeah, I agree.
Okay, I'm gonna write that down before I forget. Glimpses into animals beginning. Okay. Thank God for spell check. All right. So now, I guess it's time that we actually edit.
Ready for this one?
All right. I just gotta stop sharing my screen. There we go. Oh, and I'm gonna create a banner real quick. Edit. This is wait, what was the prompt again? Oh, wait, I see it on my page. On Main Street in a small town. Okay. 5. All right, so now we're ready to start the timer.
Okay, we will begin in 3, 2, and 1. I'm like tweaking one last thing.
Nice. I made changes and had enough time to grab some breakfast.
I also grabbed a cold brew coffee yogurt. It's so good.
So I was able to make the changes I needed to. Definitely feel like it's better. Still finding spell check errors, but that's like my life. There we go. Like, I accidentally left out the T in heartbeat. Oops. And then I had issues pasting. So for some reason it was like, oh, you want to do bullets for your whole story. So when I pasted it had bullets for every single part of the paragraph and the space between paragraph. And I was like, there's got to be a way. So I highlighted it all and then pressed the bullet because I didn't see any option for none.
Mm-hmm.
So I just pressed the bullet thing in Google Docs and it finally went away.
You can also, when you right click to paste, there's one that you can paste without formatting.
Oh, that's nice. Spencer is just like, Mom, why did you not get me breakfast? When I was making my breakfast, I was like, hey, buddy, you hungry? Do you want breakfast? He went, no. And now he's like, Mom, why did you not get me breakfast? This child?
Yeah, why indeed.
Mm-hmm.
I've been trying to get these characters to this fairyland for ages. I can't even tell what the pacing is like because of how slowly I've written. But I'm hoping editor me forgives me. It do be like that sometimes. You know what I found though is when I struggle to write something, usually the pacing is a lot faster than I think it is. Especially since I'm one to have half a conversation in my head, but either never write it or speak it out loud if I'm actually talking to a person. I don't know if you are like me at all, but I'm here to encourage you. I believe in you.
Well, all right. I've posted my story. Did you make all the changes you needed?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm going to share my screen. Oh, wait. I have to stream. All right. I'm going to read your story first.
Okay.
Erase over the cracked pavement on Main Street in the small town square. A small town makes it sound so distant. It's my town, or it used to be my town. Anyway, I used to live here. It's also where I died. Now it's just my haunting grounds. I race past the truculent old men seated in front of the general store. They grunt and ask, "Where are you going, little lady?" I don't answer. Already, things are changing. The tar that patches the road has begun to soften from the heat. Along the seams, small bubbles form and burst. The cracks and fissures cross the sidewalk and snake up the sides of brick buildings, spreading lead by the scurry of rats. Spreading lead? Yeah, lead, like bleeding. Okay. Still, the whole town seems to wear a facade that screams. This is what I've always been. Sorry, my voice. Still, the whole town seems to wear a facade that screams. This is what I've always been, and this is what I will always will be. I know I have to go. Nothing can save these people or this place. I run for the wilderness. A pang of remorse curdles in my stomach, but I push harder. I have to separate myself from this place before it is too late. My soul is tethered here, and if I don't make it far enough to sever that connection, I'll go down with the general store old men and everyone else. My feet carry me closer to the desert scrub, and it's hard to tell if it is any safer under the ominous sky. It has morphed into an unnatural mix of colors, like a painter's palette, streaked and splotched from sampling. Even if it's only imagined, I can hear the underworld calling. The old minister used to preach about that. Little did he know, the place he spoke of was just under our town. That was the type of arrogance they were trading for their lives. I maybe at first I had been a pawn, a tool of the devil used to spread fear. But that was before I knew there was a way I could get out of hell. I warned my people, the people of my town. They cast me aside, dug up my grave, and did their best to banish me. Part of me, part of me thinks that's what started it. The first crack in the foundation, the first weakening of my tether. Without the loss of that connection, I could never go. And without me, the town could never survive. Who's laughing now? Behind me, I hear the wind. I could smell the char and tinge of sulfur. The scrub grass fizzles with flames and whips away. Wisp on the wind. Birds fall from the seething sky. Everything is dying. But I'm giving them what they wanted. I'm leaving. They will stay. And hell and all its armies will rise from beneath them, led by the king of the underworld himself. My shoes leave the pavement and strike hard-packed dirt. The further I go, the more tangible the world seems. I can almost feel the wind on my face again. The scrapes and burns on my skin begin to heal, and I can feel the fragments of my soul snapping back into place. For the first time in a long time, I feel human. Almost. Oh, God, yes. You talk about the souls tethered and everything. It's like this raising the stakes of like, if I don't go, I won't be able to get my soul back. And so that's why it has to be now. And then now with this input of the main character being cast aside by the people, and then her grave was dug up, it kind of makes me get the vibe that the people killed her, which then makes it the scrapes and burns maybe a hint to what they did to kill her. Like maybe they actually stoned her or something. That's what I find. It has that depth in it that you probably weren't going for, but yeah, my headcanon now, so.
I'm good with headcanon.
So, but no, like so much better. I can't think of what to change. I feel like there are more questions now, but like in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
And such, like, I guess the question now is, with hell being beneath them, did they make a deal with the devil, or is it just by location that they're here, like in this situation?
Mm-hmm.
Like it just happens to be their town. So that type of stuff is coming through my mind.
Mm-hmm. I actually have a little more headcanon than I did before. And kind of what I was thinking is like they burned the witch and bound her and used her to seal, like she'd been used to basically seal Hell's Gate, implying there can be more than one. It's not specific, but she's kind of that binding in this location and not really being aware of that herself. She is sensing hell because obviously she's the door. And so she's haunting the town and trying to like warn people. And
I got this vibe like she's an innocent. The town went against her, and by killing an innocent, that opened the gate to hell that was beneath all along.
Mm-hmm. So when they dig up her grave, they're actually removing the seal to the gate. She's the seal to the gate of hell in this town. So when they dig her up, they loosen that tether, and she's now free to go. And she's like coming back to herself. But now, ouch! He keeps rubbing his teeth on my hands and feet, and ow, you're hurting me. You know that song by, I think it's Incubus, Love Hurts?
Yeah.
That is my experience with my cat right now. So I'm like trying to scoot as close to my desk as I can so he can't get in my lap. We'll see if that works. Okay,
Don't worry,
let me,
I'm gonna get you breakfast. I'm gonna
let
be
me
on
read your
mute, but I
story.
can listen while I make Spencer's food. Shoot.
Okay, here we go. Should I share my screen so I can scroll?
Yeah, that works.
Um,
So I'll stop sharing.
It's got the theme song from Robot Chicken stuck in my head. Don't know what that's about.
Make sure you zoom in. Yep, you were on it. Okay.
That should be good. Okay, here we go. This town doesn't cater to night owls. We can't choose where our cars break down or complain too much about the only bed and breakfast in town. I went downstairs well after the sun had set, as was met with the owners was met with the owners who warned me of festival preparations on Main Street. I've never heard of festival preparations happening overnight since I didn't see it this afternoon. When I said I would stay out of the way, they mentioned the mosquitoes were in full force this time of year. Odd, since today was the first warm day since Christmas in my hometown, and I live a few hours south of here. I snuck out of my room in the small bed and breakfast that put me up for the night while my vehicle got fixed. When they checked me in, they told me about all the indoor activities they have after sunset to help it be a less boring stay. That should have been my first clue to stay inside, but I've never been the type to do what I'm told. I walked across Main Street, hearing just crickets, as I made my way to Central Square. It was empty compared to 6 hours ago when I came through with the tow truck. The pedestrians had outnumbered the vehicles 4-1. Now it was poorly lit, brick, concrete, and asphalt wilderness. There were no festival preparations. As I made my way to the gazebo in the middle of the square, there was less than 10 lamps lighting the way. One light in the gazebo was a beacon to the wraparound bench, a few in front of the coffee shop, and even one lighting the church sign that said, "Preach to our congregation, not the choir." Once I sat down in the gazebo, I realized the crickets stopped singing. My own heartbeat reverberates in my ears, as if I needed some sound to know I was alive. A pang in my stomach gave me unease as I saw the quiet, small town facade drop in front of my eyes. Every person that was on the street this afternoon was here again, but lined for battle instead of daily errands. The crowds were standing on the sidewalk facing each other with the street between them. I ducked to hide myself behind the open slats of the gazebo, forgetting the beacon of light right above me. The youngest girl must have been 14. The youngest girl must have been 14, stepped away from the line from the right. At the same time, another young girl from the left flank stepped out. They circled each other as they lowered themselves to the ground, ending with their feet and hands touching the pavement. I didn't notice the others in the sideline lowering themselves too. Then I heard it, a mixture of caws, growls, sneers, and screams. It reverberated my chest, but I couldn't take my hands off my ears. I scurried backward, falling down the steps of the gazebo. I had to get back to the B&B. Noises and chains elongated into barks. Noises and chins elongated into barks and muzzles. Oh, I had that right the first time. Noses and chins elongated into beaks and muzzles. Fur and feathers grew through skin. Clothes tore as backs expanded. Other clothing crumpled as and as a tinier animal scurried or flew from it. I looked over my shoulder one last time as I sprinted. There were no humans along Main Street, but the entire food chain of the surrounding woods. It wasn't until I was back in my room that I started to feel a semblance of safety, as I steadied my heart and breath until a hawk and two cardinals started pecking at my window. I think the improvements clarified everything, and I really like it. I had a couple things that I did notice. Um,
Spelling, grammar, English in general.
no. So you say bed and breakfast here, and then bed and breakfast here, but we already know it's a bed and breakfast, and because it's short, you don't have to emphasize that. Um, you can take out the just here because it actually softens the sentence. And let's see, there were that comma. So I ducked to hide myself. I think we know that the person is hiding, so we can take myself out. Go away.
Yeah, just change that, shorten it entirely to say I duck behind the open slats.
Yeah.
I want to keep open slats because it's like this. Yeah, you can peek through, but they can also see you, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's good. I think that's it. Those were just a couple of tweaks that I had. Yeah, that's it though. It was all really minor. But I think
Moving those changes into my Word document.
I think the biggest thing is you clarified the visuals, like what the character is seeing.
Yeah,
Because
without
we already knew
the
sounds.
filter of I saw or I looked, and which I tried to cut that out as where I could.
Yeah, I thought that was really good. I also feel like maybe this is just me, maybe this is just wishful thinking, but I feel like there's been a shift in what we're editing. You know?
Where like now we're not having changed the story much, it's enhancing the story.
Yeah.
As we move on. That makes sense.
Like a specific aspect of the story, like before it would be like, oh, you need to change this, oh, you didn't do that, or you know, you need
or
more
what
of
if this happens and stuff, and where it was like more changes, but now it's getting to the point where it's like we're able to, in this 20-minute sprint, we're able to get other shit done including the changes.
Yeah, like before we were still developing the story. Now the stories are developed, but we're able to focus on a specific aspect of the story. Like
I will throw in, though, I'm sure we're going to come across where we have to develop the story too. Just because writing is like, it's like a stock market chart where there's ebbs and flows, but there is a gradual of going up.
Yeah, it's trending up, but there are still dips. But I just, I think it's kind of fun to notice that there has been general improvement. And I think, of course, I was reading, I'm reading The Road right now. And I was mentioning this to my boyfriend of how Cormac McCarthy has a very distinctive style of writing where he doesn't use commas, dialogue tags. He doesn't even use like a apostrophe. He eschews all of it. He uses a ton of ands, sentence fragments, run-ons. Honey Badger don't give a fuck. And I'm like, I'm reading this, and I'm getting so mad because he's such a good writer. First of all, it is painful for me to read it without dialogue tags, but I know who's talking.
How did that get published?
No Country for Old Men, The Road. He's done a bunch of other screenplays. The Counselor is a really good, really dark movie. But the thing that stuck out to me, he started by editing for a professor. So that made me feel good because I was like, really editing helps you develop your own writing a lot.
Oh, 100%.
So that made me, I was like, okay, we're on the right track. That's really good. But then I was also just feeling super frustrated and mad because he breaks literally every single writing rule aside, like he spells things correctly. But other than that, he's just like, no, it's my story, my rules. Leave me alone. And I realize there are certain things, I know there's certain stylistic things that you do, and there's certain stylistic things that I do. For me, I love commas. You can pry them out of my cold, dead hands. But I'm also not going to feel bad for using a lot of them.
Yeah.
I'm not going to feel bad for using more of them than I'm, quote, unquote, supposed to. That's the thing about writing. That's the thing about doing things in a stylistic way. You're supposed to be able to make it your own. Yes, you should know what the rules are, but if you want to break them, then break them. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox now, but it did make me really bad to see. Like I've been working on this so much and studying so much, and he's out here
breaking everything. Because we also, as new writers, we're told you're not the exception. You're not the exception. How did he become the exception?
Yeah. Like, no, he really developed his own unique style, which is necessary. So, like, develop your style. And even though The Road is a post-apocalyptic story, so in a sense it is genre.
Mm-hmm.
But you would not accuse Cormac McCarthy of being a genre writer either. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just,
yeah,
his recipe is more of like, and everyone dies and suffers significantly.
That's why you're reading him.
Maybe. But I mean, I think that with the thing that genre fiction gets a lot of is people have a set expectation of how the story's going to go. And when they read genre fiction, that's what they want. That's the point of reading it. You pick a genre because you know generally what's supposed to happen, what the story arc is going to be. But the interesting part is how the author does it versus with Cormac McCarthy. His style is, violence, chaos, and destruction, and everyone's very sad. So it's, different. Different. Anywho.
So the next thing we're to do is to have a random prompt that anyone could use to kind of have this proof that anything can inspire you. And I was looking through our prompts that we have written, and I think one stands out because we were just talking about it, and that is dreams. Mm-hmm. So now we have to write the dreams we recently had. So for me, it would be the dream where I'm talking to the childhood friend that apparently in my dream I was dating. Which is always weird to me because I wake up and I go, this right here, no. Nothing happened. We were just chatting and stuff. But I ended up making that comment of we peaked in high school because we didn't have responsibility. And then your dream of signing into work and then just like not being at work type thing for 2 hours. Now, with those dreams, obviously in themselves, it's like we were able to summarize and make it interesting in 1 to 2 sentences. So the difficult part is we got the inspiration of something kind of mundane.
Mm-hmm.
Now we need to make it a story and have something more impressive happen than just I had a conversation or I signed in it too.
We have an idea.
So there we go. Inspiration anywhere. So I'm gonna make the banner real quick.
I'm gonna grab a timer.
There we go. This is my one caveat. This is what I called it. I said, embellish a recent dream to make it a story, but don't make it a dream in the story. Like,
I like that. That's good.
Yeah, like that is one of my pet peeves if people use dreams as, of course, at the same time, artistic license. It's your story, not mine.
So I actually have one of my fantasy stories that I've been working on for an incredibly long time that I'm not even going to say how long I've been working on it. But it started from a really weird dream that I had, and I woke up from the dream and I couldn't stop thinking about it. And then I started developing just like a specific scene from the dream. Mm-hmm. But like, also, your dreams aren't that interesting.
Yeah. You got to embellish it a little bit.
Yeah, like you can take a segment or have like a little snippet, like a specific scene in the dream that was very interesting and build on that. But for the most part, most dreams aren't that. Unless it's a nightmare. I don't know. Nightmares could be.
Nightmares can be. But and here's the thing. Okay, when it comes to flash fiction, I say don't make the dream a dream in the story. Mm-hmm. But with your story, you got this big thing that part of your dream could become one of the characters' dreams that's a premonition of something or whatever. But it's because you got this such a vast world that's built off this thing.
Yeah, it was literally just like a 2-second thing. And I was like, ooh, where does this go? I will also say, though, I kind of think of dreams like in Harry Potter, where everyone has to face the boggart in the closet.
Yeah.
Half the time, like what's scary to you, like the most terrifying thing to you, everyone else is like, huh?
Yeah. I'm imagining, I think there might have been memes like this, but I'm just imagining, what if there was a muggle that went through the Wizarding World and their like fear is taxes or something? Like
everyone's just like,
what do you mean? Or like their fear is just something that's like such a muggle thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I did like when Lupin steps in front of Harry and the boggart turns into the moon.
Yeah.
And everyone's just like,
what?
Weird.
One thing that why was no one afraid of public speaking or heights or like, can we get some major phobias here and try to make them funny for the rest of us, please?
Yeah. Well, Ron did have spiders, though.
That's a legit, like, my husband hates spiders. 100%. Like, he calls me to handle it. He's gotten better over the years.
I've literally not gone into my kitchen for an entire day because I saw a spider in there.
I actually like spiders. I try to, like, I'll let them live. I'm like, you stay on your part and keep the flies, and I'll stay on my side.
And you're probably wondering how I've survived on my own this long. I'll tell you, it's Dobby. Anytime I see a bug that I do not want to deal with, I literally will. I do, and he does. You know. So really, if you think about it, he earns his keep.
And that's why we put up with his chaos and murder mittens and teeth rubbing and.
I don't understand. I know they're like, oh, they have their like scent. They can scent you and
pheromone stuff or whatever.
Yeah, and I'm like, on his teeth.
I feel like that's just aggressive rubbing, and it like moved it up the lip up or something.
Yeah, like you don't. Yeah,
like
even
he's
that
just being
is
super aggressive with his pheromones.
Yeah, I have an alarm system and pest control. And they take care of themselves.
Whenever there's a fly in the house, it's Lilo's job to get it. Like, because she's just so much, she's that dog that's like, and then starts snapping at air. And she's gotten a few flies and stuff. And I'm like, go for it. Earn your keep. Now, if they could just stop barking and growling, like they'll growl at Alex when he's at the top of the stairs. Now, in their defense, they're starting to get cloudy eyes and stuff, so it could be that. But I'm just like, he lives here. If you don't see me freak out, you're okay, okay?
See, I'm the other way around. I'll look around and I'm like, well, the fur babies aren't freaking out, so it's fine. I even did that with the weather. I was like, well, they're still laying here.
But also, your living situation is a little different than mine and everything. Sometimes you got I would say a roommate in the equivalent, but sometimes there's another person, other times there's not. And then so when the house moves or creaks, we freak out a little bit but if there's other people there, I'm sure I just assumed that someone else made noise. Oh my God. When one of the like shampoo bottles fall in the bathroom randomly.
The panic that ensues.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because with kids, I'm constantly like, I'm thinking about them and I'm like, where are they? Like, I'm like, do I have to go check on them or?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because when people are like, when someone else is coming into the house, they still bark a lot, even if it's a person that they know and like.
Oh God. Lilo and Stitch do the same thing. Well, Lilo does the barking, and then Stitch is just like that yes goon that's like, yeah, what they said. I'm like, okay, Stitch, you are not intimidating. You can't. Don't chime in on this.
Well, that's the big thing is the difference in the bark for people that are liked and disliked. But I do like it when how like there's some delivery people, even though we've gone completely like no contact delivery, and they're still like, no, I'm gonna bring it to you, and it's like, stop helping. I don't have that problem anymore because as soon as like the faintest sound outside and the alarm goes off and there's immediate like, oh, you know what? I'll just leave it right here.
I get the people where they drop the package, ring my doorbell, and then just leave. And I'm like, you didn't have to. Like,
yeah, you could just like take the picture and like send the notification. I'll get that, and there won't be as much barking.
Exactly. But
no.
Can we just not do barking? I'm tired of the barking.
Yeah. I get that. Well, I did share the screen.
Yep, you got it shared. We just got to remember to make sure to share the drive or the link at the end. Oh, I should probably actually write what the prompt is and stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm sharing it to you now just to make it easier.
Oh, perfect.
My dog barks anytime someone drives by. Oh no. We live at the end. Oh, okay. We live at the end of the cul-de-sac, and it's small enough. A lot of larger vehicles inexperienced with it have to do a 3 or 4 or 5-point turn. So
Oh, bless
the
them.
dog is like, oh, yeah.
They don't belong here. They do not belong here.
I like that though. I feel like everyone in my neighborhood has dogs, and we're all super nosy, and like even though we don't really always talk to each other, like I've had it where someone like just drives by slowly, or one of my neighbors was renovating and had like the full size dumpster in their yard,
Yeah.
and so they'd been in there like throwing stuff in it, and a truck pulled into the neighborhood and was just like, they parked in front of my house and got out to go look into the dumpster to like dumpster dive. And I just like come to my front door with my dog and just stand there and stare at them. I don't say anything. I just like, I see you. And they like kind of wave, and I don't wave back because I'm a curmudgeon. And they just like jump back in their vehicle and carry on.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, that's what keeps the neighborhood safe, is that everybody just keeping an eye out and being seen to keep an eye out.
100%.
I would be like, yeah, I have to dig through trash. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think I would also just be like, depending on the person, how I would respond.
Yeah, not to judge a book by its cover, but
yeah. And I've definitely taken a picture of people's plates. There was even one where like I stepped outside and I was like staring down this vehicle, and then I look over and my neighbor is standing in his yard also staring. And I was like, we are the same. That's how you know you live in the right area too, though.
Oh, 100%. Like, I don't have to be in the neighborhood where we know everyone's names or like occupation and their schedule and all that. I don't need all that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm fine with people knowing whose vehicle is whose, just because seeing everybody drive. For the most part, no, like, oh, this person has they usually work Monday through Friday and everything, like 8 to 5. This person has a late shift. I think this person works from home, and
yeah, that's what their car looks like. I mean, even people who are supposed to come, you know, the people who are doing work here, or you know, all that kind of stuff. My neighbors know who those people are. Even if they don't talk all the time, they still like know what that person drives, or like those kinds of things. And I mean, I know, I don't know my neighbors' kids, but I know what they look like generally. And if they're playing outside, I do keep an eye out. Just do, you know, if I see a car driving around out there, it's not supposed to be there. And I'm like,
it's like me when I'm at a playground and everything, and I see my kids playing, and I have a level of trust with them, and then I see another kid that might be struggling walking around, I keep an eye on them too, just in case.
Yeah. I mean, even I lived in this apartment, and I was out at the pool, and there was this little girl with her mom, and her mom was just staring at her phone the entire time, ordering stuff on Amazon, while this like 6 or 7-year-old is in the pool. And I like couldn't relax the whole time I was there, because I'm like, you're not watching your kid. So now I'm watching your kid, whether or not you know that. Because, like, you know, if you're begging your kid to be quiet the whole time, when they're just like trying to show you what they're doing in the pool, and you like don't look up when it finally does get quiet, how long are they going to be quiet before you like?
Exactly. That sounds like it should be a story, honestly.
Oh, it made me so anxious. And I'm like, yeah, the kid's probably fine, and they're probably a good swimmer. And did I get in a pool when I wasn't supposed to as a kid and not tell anybody and swim around by myself before I actually really knew how to swim? Yes, I also did that. But I think it's like, I don't know, it just makes me, especially if they're playing by themselves, it makes me nervous.
Mom.
Eva's stories of making sure kids don't come around her cul-de-sac.
I think I think I probably either I have a neighbor who's either agoraphobic or they leave before sunrise and come back after dark.
Yeah.
I've seen them 3 times
In the number of years.
Yeah, 3 times. I don't know. You relocated for 6 months and your neighbors noticed. There's
All right. You do need to eat breakfast. All right.
we
Are we ready?
also need to do this sprint, but I'm enjoying reading these comments.
Me too. Chat's on point today.
Maybe they know them. Oh.
Yeah. I swear at the next place I live at, I'm probably going to get like one of those video camera doorbell things or something. Here we've had kids do ding dong ditch at 10 o'clock at night. I'm like, I got kids asleep. Spencer's asleep. Stop it. And Lilo, of course, barks like mad. And I'm just like,
yeah, no one's knocked on my door.
now
But
I'm singing Three's Company theme song. Come on, knock on our door.
I definitely have called the police though if I've noticed anything that's like off.
Yeah.
I'm just like I believe in that as in you've got to create a record, and probably because I watch so much true crime.
I know.
I'm like,
and it's always the question of, well, did you contact police the first time? No, I didn't think it was a big deal, and all of a sudden that means you're not reliable anymore because you didn't reach out.
Yeah, I'm like, no, there will be a paper trail.
Yeah.
There will be.
Learn.
Mm-hmm. You gonna learn today. But I feel like also Snapchat has come up in several different crimes where that's been some of the strongest evidence.
We will go later. You need to eat breakfast though. God, this child. Okay. Well, let's get started. So at least I can mute.
Sorry. Eva, stop being so interesting.
Eva, how dare you have a like valid points that add to the conversation.
Yeah, and also now I feel like these are all really good story ideas too. And
honestly, to me, like a very daunting one of the like I could see the story of the mom on her phone telling her kid to be quiet, and then at the end the kid is quiet, and it's type thing, like one of those like warning stories of caution.
Yeah, Eva said shushing. I'll write too.
We'll see if that happens. So actually, Eva's better than us about writing on cue.
Okay, here we go. We're doing it for real this time.
Right.
3, 2, and 1.
Oh, time's up.
But I'm not ready.
I was actually done early, and I was like, well, what do I do now?
If you want to start talking, I have
Okay.
I have to finish this. I have to.
Go for it, as long as my talking doesn't bother you.
Nope. Good.
Luckily, I believe you already sent me the prompt. Yeah. Okay. So I can copy and paste my stuff in. So my story ended up taking a turn because in my dream, this is where embellishing and taking some liberties comes into play. Hold on, my son needs me. Yes, Spencer, what do you need? We will hang out upstairs once I'm done live streaming. He likes to go hang out on the master bedroom bed. So we'll go hang out upstairs once I'm done live streaming. Let me finish. All right. So my story has the talk about high school being kind of like the best time because we didn't have responsibilities, but it ended up becoming a little bit of a love story because I don't know why. And then I also realized in my dream, the person that I was speaking to, that I was close to as a friend, actually changed who it was multiple times. Because I had a best friend who came out to me in high school that he was gay. And I would like to think that my reaction is why he came out to the entire school later. And then everybody wanted a gay best friend, so I got pushed to the side. So that kind of sucked. But I'm not bitter. But he was in the dream. So was the, like, I would say childhood friend, but it was like his dad and my dad were best friends. So we just happened to always see each other. He was in the dream, like as the same person. So like this person just kept on morphing in my dream. And then, but as the writer, I decided the narrator needed something of like, what's going on here? So I had them kind of with the same struggles, and I ended up having the layout the same, like the setting the same as it was in my dream. But then that's where similarities drop. Because I definitely, it was like strictly platonic almost in my dream. So there's that. But I mean, you gotta have something worth like the stakes and stuff when you write it out. So all right. So I'm gonna paste my story in the bottom here. Hopefully Chandra doesn't have to see it right now.
I'm done.
Yay.
I don't know. It's weird. I don't know.
Hey, weird is fine. We accept weird here.
756 words.
Bravo! I think that's the most you've ever written.
I think so.
In 30 minutes. Mine was 313, but that's fine. I don't mind.
It's 3 characters.
Wow.
3 sections.
All about how your dream started with I signed into work but didn't actually work until 3. I mean, or 2, whatever it was.
Yeah. I don't know. It needs work. It's very rough, but I was like,
that's fine. We can work with that. Okay, well then let's just go ahead and read your story. So, to a little reminder, let me share the screen. Little reminder, Chandra's story started with she was dreaming that she signed into work, and she works from home, and that she signed into work in the dream, and where her work computer is there, but she actually didn't sit at the computer and try to work until 2:00, like pretty much a good number of hours after she should have already started, like 3 or so hours. So back to the dream. Hey, are you there? He's been waiting for a response. She was sitting on the couch when he left, her laptop balanced on her knees and her phone in her hand. She hadn't said anything, just a mutter of assent. I'll see you later. Mm-hmm. She hadn't looked up at him. No goodbye kiss. I'm starting to worry. He slid his thumb back, pulling the text to the left of his phone screen, looking at the time that elapsed between each of his messages. It had been long enough, and yet it had been too long. Would they think he was foolish if he asked for a wellness check? He felt silly just thinking about it, but he couldn't push the idea from his head. Would she be upset with him getting a knock on the door? She'd have to get up. The bones in her foot were still healing, and she'd have to get her crutches. Had he left them close enough to her? He couldn't remember. What if she needed more water? It was hard for her to do some things, anything when she had to carry stuff. She could get around all right, but moving things with her was tricky. I can come home. Do you want me to come home? I don't mind. He waited for the familiar bubbles to indicate she was responding. Nothing. And nothing. And nothing. I know I've been hovering. I'm just trying to help. Desperate. Are you mad at me? The wind whipped outside his black pickup truck. He'd gotten it for Christmas. He was used to the elements, and that was the nature of working outside. But this one was a bit worse than most. She scrolled over her timeline, past the shorts of kittens, life hacks, ads, and dieting advice. He'd been getting on her nerves, honestly, she couldn't wait till he left for work. He said something. She wasn't listening. She answered with the default, mm-hmm. That seemed to work. Silence. She jumped a little when the front door slammed. Looked up. She could see his back as he walks down the front steps to the drive and got into his truck. She watched him back away, reached for the remote. The show she was watching had been running for years. She didn't even know how long. She didn't really care. Now that he was gone, the house felt too empty, too quiet. She didn't want to talk to him, but she did like having him there. It made her feel safe. She opened her phone, text, his last message. I love you, sweetheart. She thought about asking him to come home. It was silly. She wondered if he would be mad if she would be bothering him. She hadn't been particularly nice that morning. She opened her laptop and to the 17-page paper she needed to write. It was due at midnight. The cursor blinked. The blank page. She opened her phone. Can you come home? She didn't hit send. The wind howled. Branches thrashed in the wind. Sticks scattered in the yard. She reached for her crutches. Too far. Working fire and rescue was good work. Hard, but rewarding. Dane had been doing it all his life, just like his father. He was just starting his 48-hour shift when the tornado siren sounded. He sipped his coffee and waited. He'd given it a few hours for the weather to calm down, but pretty soon the fire station would be full. It'd be all hands on deck. He'd been keeping an eye on the news, and a low-pressure system was moving in. He was surprised when the weather cleared out after about 15 minutes and calls started coming in. He was on his way to the first one when the second call came in. Hey, Dan, dispatch said. I know you're on your way to that house, but when you get done, there's a black pickup flipped in a ditch up the road. I sent you the details. Can you go there after? We're spread pretty thin. Dan turned the dial down on his radio. There were trees down along the drive. He picked his way toward the house, but it was a mess. The living room was ripped open like a can of tuna. Eerie. There were crutches on the front steps, a phone in the grass, and a couch in the front yard. There was a laptop too, the cursor blinking on a blank page. Damn. That is, I love like how you took the tiny bit of inspiration. I can barely see the inspiration, but hey, stop, Spencer. That's not a toy. Stop. No more. Stop.
No.
Okay. But I can see it. And then the whole time when you said there was 3 people, so I was going into here thinking 3 people. And at first I was confused because I was like, is the person typing the same person? A different person than the person that was leaving her and trying to kiss her goodbye.
I'm sorry, Eva.
But you kind of felt like a premonition moment. I just love how Eva was like, I'm scared of the twist. Do you mean Twister?
Oh no.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, like, wow. I was wondering where the third person, the only thing that I got confused on, and then this is where cleanup will be, is that I noticed you were jumping around in time. Like, you got him texting, and then you jumped to the morning of him leaving. And, like, that would make sense, but it was like, it took me a second to realize. Like,
so yeah, I see what you're
yeah.
saying. His story runs backward in time.
Yeah, if his, I like the idea of his story being like the start of, hey, are you there? And sending text and worry and everything. Then her story starting as he leaves the house.
Mm-hmm.
And then her finally like getting annoyed about it, and then finally going, can you come home? But she never presses send.
Mm-hmm.
And then back to his story where he's like, he's like, you know what? Back to his story. He's like, you know what? I'm just going to go. Like, he made a decision.
Mm-hmm. So really start with his story. About midway through, switch to her story, finish her story, and then go back to his story, and then go to dispatch.
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's a little bit clearer. Luckily, you got the tildes, whatever you want to call it, that showed the separation and stuff there. I'm not sure if it's added value or not, but I kind of want the couple to be named.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking about that.
Yeah. Oh, but I do like the artistic license of like text and stuff, how it's in a different font and it's like poor punctuation and stuff like that. So really good there.
I thought it was easier just to do it in formatting instead of having to say like, this is now we're texting, now we're talking.
Yeah. At first it's a little different, but luckily I think it's a little, it becomes clear, you know.
Oh, Eva said I'd add a bit more hint for the tornado. Maybe some clouds for his view. Maybe some sort of warning along the screen.
Because all you said was wind, and then he's like, he's used to working outside, but this weather was a bit worse. Like, you said wind and weather a bit worse. That was kind of it.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, Dan heard the sirens, then start getting phone calls. Not because we're not from her point of view anymore, so we don't hear the sirens yet.
Mm-hmm.
So never mind, we're good.
I like seeing his worry and not knowing if she hates him or not, then seeing that she is actually depressed and in a huge overwhelmed state where she's both wanting to be alone and wanting support.
Yeah, I thought that was a good depiction. What's kind of cool also though is what I like is that the we don't know if anyone lived and stuff. Like, they technically could have maybe and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So there could be more to this story, but yeah.
Oh, I like what Eva said. I don't think it give it away, but maybe it would read like a mirror analogy.
I like that.
A storm is brewing sort of thing, but a different storm for each of them.
Actually, I kind of see that already, because like the storm that the main guy is thinking is like, maybe my marriage, my relationship is falling apart. That storm. The storm for her is the depression, and then the storm for Dan is literal.
Mm-hmm. So what Here's another thought. I know you said breaking up um, his POV, but what if I start with Dan and him, like the preparation for the storm and what it's like at the fire station, go into the guy? I would actually have to name him at that point, go into her story, go back to the guy, and then back to Dan at the end.
That could work, because right now Dan just seems like a neat little bow, and that would give Dan more depth, especially if you showed Dan's maybe anxiety. Is this his first storm? Has he gone through some of these before? Is this supposed to be the projected like worst storm he's ever dealt with, even though he's got experience? Maybe he's the senior guy on the team, and so he's trying to keep himself in check, but he knows this one's going to be bad.
Ooh, I'd say do it in a way that makes the reader wonder if Dan is the other man and not give too much away about the storm itself as a literal storm. Make his storm feel like a couple storm. Ooh, I like that.
Nice.
I really like that idea. I think
so, but here's the thing: if he's gonna be another man, like, so now you got to put in that to create the tension or whatever is, how did she break her leg? She said she was alone in the car or something, you know.
So
when it crashed.
One thing I was kind of thinking is maybe I change it when the second call came in. Maybe he doesn't actually wait for a call. He just goes out to check on her. So he turns his radio down when the actual call comes in about the pickup truck.
Wait. So instead of insinuating he's the other guy, he's the actual other guy.
Not necessarily. It just doesn't say. Like, we don't know why he goes to check on her right away, but he does. We don't know what their relationship is. They could be friends. They could be like siblings. It just
everyone's gonna assume other guy.
Yeah, leave it open to interpretation.
Yeah.
Let him be.
For me, I like closure when it comes to relationships, to know whose connection personally. But because, like, for my idea is like he would pure suggestion, take it really, but so you make it seem like he's connected, but then he turns out to be like Dan's brother or even the girl's brother.
Yeah, Eva has a good point. He could just be the EMT that helped her with her leg once.
Yeah. Like, maybe she was in a car accident and that's how her leg got messed up, and he remembers her.
I feel like, I'd like it to be full on. She loves her guy, to be honest, because her guy isn't sure, and he dies not knowing. That's how I read it, and that's tragic, especially if she did love him. Yeah, I feel like hurting some feelings today. I need to read your story because I have to go.
Yeah, we're good. Luckily, my story's short. All right,
this is Natalie's story. I laid on the couch with my knees curled over the arm and my laptop angled so I could type on it while laying down. "What you working on?" Derek asked. He laid on his stomach, his hips resting on the other armrest, but his upper body rested on his forearms right next to my head. "Just another work project. I swear, high school was easier. At least the only threat was a bad grade," I said with a sigh. "Oh, come on, you don't mean that. High school is horrible. We had no rights. We had zero responsibilities and thus could screw up. Screwing up now has detrimental effects." I looked up at him. He stared down at me, shifting so his forearms rested on either side of my shoulders. "True," he said softly, "but in high school, I wouldn't have had the courage to do this." His lips lowered to mine. I was frozen. We were just friends and roommates. Didn't he still identify as gay? Does he know I still love him? Our lips touched harder than I expected. Then he pushed enough air out to make his lips vibrate against mine. "You jerk." I pushed him away, but couldn't hide my smile. A raspberry? Really? I think you haven't matured since high school. Derek laughed as he pushed himself to stand beside the couch. Nah, I just know what is worth stressing about, and you needed a distraction. Rolling my eyes back to my computer, I continued with the slides I was editing. Derek's face filled my vision again, blocking the screen. He grabbed my face and really kissed me this time. We pulled away and both said, I love you. With a smile, I took lead on the next kiss as he picked me up and my laptop dropped to the floor. Who cares? Ooh. So is bi? Is
Maybe
bi representation?
maybe I never gave the gender of the main character, so even though it was inspired by my dream, I could change it.
Look at me making assumptions.
Yeah.
I think that's good.
I just love how we completely like wrote two different, like you're like crush everybody's hopes dreams, and I'm like, look, they get together at the end.
Eva said, as a teen mom, I'm side-eyeing slightly. Both of us out here stirring the pot.
Yep. No. They're after high school and everything. This isn't high school. They're like in real life and they've been friends since high school.
Mm-hmm. It's just sensitivity readers, but love the HEA. I'm not sure what HEA stands for.
I don't know what it either.
Polar opposites. Yeah. Completely polar opposites. Yeah, I think that's why so when it says identify as gay, I was thinking that the person was questioning, instead of just saying that they're gay, saying they identify as gay. And so the person is kind of using that happily ever after. But yeah, when it said identify as gay, instead of saying I thought he was gay,
Mom.
made me question that. And think that
I took that as the narrator questioning it, not the person questioning it. Like the person knows who they are.
No, I mean, that's what I'm saying. From the narrator questioning it, it made me think that they kind of don't really, like, they're not that they're necessarily opposed, but that they don't fully understand, which is why I kind of assumed that it was a woman questioning her gay best friend's sexuality because she's in love with him, and therefore kind of thinking it was bi, versus if it's I'm gay, I haven't told him, or maybe I'm a straight guy, not I don't know, just the phrasing made me think gender specific.
I could have actually, what I could do, because I've never revealed the gender of the main character, because we have a lot of stories of like people being fluid, but what if the main character said, I thought he was straight?
I think that would make more sense of why it would be why there would be a fear of confronting it. Just thought what Eva said, I'd suggest an answer over a question there too, but also sensitivity readers would know more than me.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the beauty of drafting. So
yeah,
other than that, I think that's kind of like the only thing really that needs to be fleshed out.
No, I do like the idea of it being like either I thought he was gay, or maybe the main character makes an assertion about their own sexuality. Maybe they're like, I haven't told anyone, but I think I'm gay, or something like that. Because
I think I may be bi or something like that. Maybe it's
And I think that that question makes them feel a little more in their head, but it still leaves gender neutral for the main character.
Yeah, true. Okay.
They could be anyone. The only person we know is that the person that they're talking to is Derek.
Yeah.
So I mean, they can assume Derek's gender and orientation. The main character
I
is
could
assuming
also
Derek's orientation.
make this complete whole. Change Derek to something like Alex or Jesse or something. Some of these names that are fluid.
Yeah,
And then
I like that.
their pronouns to they.
I like that.
And then and then get back into the narrator's head of questioning their own.
Mm-hmm. I like that. I do agree, especially like shifting it more in that direction. You definitely have to bring in sensitivity readers, but I like moving it in that direction, and I do like that. Now that I know HEA is happily ever after, I'm with the chat on this.
Yep. Well, we'll let you know if you follow us on Instagram. We'll let you know what the next one is. It will be on my channel. I just don't know which episode of Flash Fiction Live we'll cover, and we'll do another random prompt. We got to think of more random prompts because we only have like 35, and we're supposed to have like 2 weeks worth. But Chandra's got to get to work.
I do. Make sure you come grab some of this dialogue from chat because I feel like yes. And
yes.
With that,
100%.
We'll see you next week on Natalie's channel.
Yep. I'll hang up. Do the end broadcast. All right. Bye, dears.
See y'all.